everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Sandhya Gokari, and I'll be your host for today's session on Unlock Your Mind, Optimizing Cognitive Function for Peak Performance. We are thrilled to have Priya Kaushik with us today, founder and CEO of Revived Thought. Priya is an ICF and CPD certified trainer known for her innovative mind exercise program that help individuals and teams achieve extraordinary success. Today's session is designed to help you enhance your mental clarity, boost productivity, and build resilience, all crucial for peak performance in our daily lives. Before we begin, just a quick reminder, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat box and we will address them during the Q&A at the end of the session. Without further ado, let's welcome Priya Kaushik. Priya, over to you. Thank you.
Hi guys. Thank you so much, Sandhya. Hi all. I see 45 participants. Thank you so much, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining. Just to get a little bit of warmed up. Let's start with a quick question, and then I'll share my screen, introduce a bit about myself, and then we'll move on to the session. So just a warm-up question. You can drop in your answers in the chat box. What's the best thing happened to you today? So I can see all that in the chat. And then I'll just share my screen and present the presentation. Also, the best thing happened in this session. Oh, that's so sweet of you, Sai. This session. This is yet to, yeah. Thank you so much. Anyone else would like to drop anything? Appreciation. Yeah, it could be an appreciation. It could be any compliment. It could be anything that you're probably expecting in the rest of the day or anything of that sort. Positive mind. Nice. Weekend approaching. Good food. Nice. All right. So sure. So guys, I'll share my screen now. Thank you so much for responding here. And let me know when you guys, Sandhya, let me know when my screen is visible. I'll then showcase the entire thing. Is my screen visible? I need to just see the chats here. Yeah, perfect. Yes, okay, great. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. All right. So just a little bit about myself. Also, Sandhya has already told you. So I'm an ICF CPD certified professional. I aim to help people realize the potential of their mind and how can they make it big in their lives. So yeah, that is that. Now with this, we're going to start with this session. Number one, so we all know the topic is optimizing cognitive function for peak performance. Now, before I actually lay down the entire context of this entire session, I want to understand what do you guys understand with cognitive function? And of course, I'm going to explain what this actually means for us as humans. But just want to understand, do you have an understanding of what cognitive function mean? And what are you exactly, what are you sort of expecting from this session? So two things, what is cognitive function, if you guys are aware of already? And what is that basic one thing that you're 100% expecting from this session? Has to do with your mind? Yes, of course, has to do with mind. Decision-making, rewiring the mindset. Okay. Decision-making, rewiring the mindset. Expecting tips and tricks. Great. I think I'll be able to help Sai. Mind management. Okay. Skill of mind. Okay. Perception of mindset. How to use your brain to the optimum. Okay, great. Okay, all right. So with this, I agree with, okay, proper focus, perfect listening. Okay. All right. So I'll now quickly just lay down the context, and then we can move ahead with the entire. And of course, I'll explain what is cognitive function and all of that. So moving ahead, we're going to have an introduction and chat, which we just did. Then I'm going to quickly explain in a very small, easiest manner what is cognitive function. Although you guys were somewhere close, but it is a wider aspect. Then a cognitive exercise, which is on mind and how do you actually make use of your cognitive function. Then an exercise which is on personality. which is also going to be really interesting for you guys. And then an activity which is gonna test your presence of mind. And then, of course, we're going to discuss some ways through which you can enhance your cognitive. And then, of course, learnings and takeaways. To start with, let's start with the cognitive function exercise. So before we start, let me just quickly tell you what is it exactly. So cognitive function is basically a mental process that includes a couple of things. For example, learning, attention, decision making. One of you also mentioned decision making. Then attention, also focus, somebody mentioned. Then memory, perception. So all of this together comes under the purview of cognitive function. Now, this is what cognitive function is. So whenever we recall anything, whenever we think of anything, whenever we take any decision, whenever we speak anything, whenever we perceive anything, that's all a part of cognitive function. Now let's start with this exercise. This will include a little bit of your attention here, right? So I'll just quickly introduce the rules to you. So rules, a screen with 10 words would be presented in front of you. Then this will only be presented for a couple of seconds. Sorry, my bad. Then another screen with 9 words would be presented. And the third, so you will basically have to recall the missing word on the second screen. There'll be 3 rounds of this. With every correct answer, you earn 10 points. So keep the answer in mind and keep the points that you're scoring in mind. Now, I'll move ahead. This is the screen. Now I'll keep it for sort of 3 seconds. Now, can you guess the word missing in this particular slide? So there was this word which was there earlier, but it's not here. Okay, I see elevate, I see hiccup, I see elevate again, I see elevate. Okay. Any more guesses? Hibiscus. Okay. Any more guesses, guys? I'll then move on to the... Okay, so when I present an answer, I'll also... no worries, sign. I'll also ask a question relating to that. So one thing that I want you guys to focus upon is that since it's your cognitive function, it all has to be related to you and your mind. So you have to take it in perception of your own self. So make sure you're just considering yourself and it's internal, not for any, you don't have to evaluate or do this for anybody else, just do it for your own mind. So I'm going to present the screen next. So most of you gave the correct answer. However, I want you to now tell me what is that one thing, since I told you it's all internal, it's your cognitive. So you have to focus upon what works the best for you, how it works the best for you. So the question here that comes up is that elevate. What is that one thing that should be elevated in your mind or in yourself in order to actually optimize your cognitive function? So for example, for me, it can be elevated emotions. For some people, it could be elevated mood. For some people, it could be anything that can be a game changer in their life. So just a quick guess, I want your mind to just function on that side. Just think of it more. And then we probably move on to the next round of it, which is the second round. And whoever gave elevate as the answer, you earn 10 points. And out of 30, you have to actually, by the end of it, you just have to keep it in mind. How much did you score? Subconscious mind, elevate subconscious mind. Okay, I like that. Vinod mentions concentration. Beautiful. Any more guesses? Memory. Makes sense. Focus. All right. Self-esteem. Okay, just remember whatever you're saying right now, how it connects with this entire session. So we might have a recap as well, but I want you to just keep it in mind. What is it that you want to be elevated in your mind or in your life? So people are giving different answers: self-esteem, confidence, logical reasoning, brain. Wonderful. Anybody else will? Okay, motivate, attention, memorizing it. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next slide. This is the slide. Can you guess? Okay, so this is gone. Let's move on to the second round. We have out of 20. This was imagination, but I can still ask one question related to imagination. What is, according to you, the power of imagination? What is it that you can achieve if you have a great control over imagination? Creativity, illusion, creativity. Wow. Creativity is actually a great answer because imagination and creativity are linked somehow. Endless outcomes. Okay, storytelling. All right. Manifestation. Wow, Hitin, great answer. Thoughts. Okay. Uniqueness. Okay. All right. Great. Let's move on to the next slide. So right now, it's going to be out of 20. Can you guess the word here? Imagine. Okay, great. So most of you gave the correct answer. Now I want you to think of one thing that you want to be sharpened in your life, related to yourself. It's all internal this time. So just keep it to yourself. What is it that can be sharpened? So it could be monetary power. Okay, one of you mentioned small. It could be soft skills as well, like ability to understand what people are trying to say, even when they're not saying it. Learning, all right. Listening, manipulation, negotiation. Yes, that's great. Great. All right. So we move on to the next exercise now. I think most of you scored 20 on 20. So that's a great thing. I think you guys are focused and into it because I want full focus on this particular exercise. Now, this is a stereogram exercise wherein I will be presenting an image in front of you only for 3 seconds or 5 seconds maximum. Now, you have to tell me what do you notice first. Keep that in mind. Now, once I present the options to you, that's when you have to tell me which one did you notice. The image will only be presented for 3 seconds. You have to only, so you have to just keep in mind what you notice first, the very first thing that you notice in the image. So it's gonna, basis on what you notice, it's gonna present personality traits close to your personality. So it could be, okay, so let's go on with the exercise. 3 seconds, guys, be cautious. Tell me, what did you notice first? B, okay. Rohit notices B, B, D, okay, A, B, all right. All right. Great, great. B, it's mostly B that you guys noticed. Women with cap. So the women, there are actually 2 women with cap. So you have to be cautious of what you noticed. Was it a woman with a cap with a broken umbrella, or the woman on the right opening her umbrella? Because both of them have hat. Okay, now great. Now with the broken umbrella, great. All right, old man, okay. So now I'm going to present. So for those of you who had A, it's specifically for them. I'm going to project certain personality traits. You have to let me know what are your thoughts on that. So it's specifically for those who saw a woman with a broken umbrella. A. You carry a positive outlook in life. You face challenging situations with a sense of humor. You think of long-term consequences rather than sweating over small details. You treasure the time spent with loved ones. You are hard to ignore and people are drawn to your personality or towards you. You are willing to endure life, for it has its own ups and downs. So for those of you who has A, so the A was a woman with a broken umbrella. What are your thoughts on this? And then we probably move on to B and to C and to D. I think we had a couple of people who had A as an answer, right? Yeah, but very few, I noticed. Very few people. Most of you had B, right? Okay. So, great. We move on to the next one. For the people who actually noticed B, the older man with bearded face. All options are correct. A, Nilesh. All right. Thank you, Nilesh. Now, this is for those who actually noticed B. which is you're an individualist, right? You want things done your way. Relatable for A, all right. You're a go-getter. Your observant eyes constantly looking for things to improve in life. You want to make those dreams a reality. You work hard to realize your ambitions. And when other people don't help you realize your goals, you're more than happy to get the job done on your own. So I see most of you, like the majority of you had B, right? So I want you to tell me how much close it is to your personality, and what is that learning that you have from it. Although we're going to discuss it after we're done with D as well. We're going to discuss how can you utilize these traits to actually optimize your cognitive function. So I see, true, absolutely right. All right, anybody, so what, so this is right, but what are your thoughts on this? Anybody else would like to come up with what they have in mind? Else we move on to the people who had C as an answer. 80%. Okay, yeah, it's close. It has to be close, not necessarily you are 100% there. Could be you're 100% there, could be you're close. All right. So let's move on to the people who had C as an answer. So the flowers, the people who noticed flowers have these as traits in them, close to them. Like you might be a sensitive person. You're probably an individualist. You enjoy around being around the right people. Once you click with someone, it's easy for you to connect with them on a deeper level. You can be a pleasure to be around. I think C also a few of you mentioned, but not many. But yeah, if there's anybody who chose C, they can actually let me know how close they feel this is to their personality. And I don't remember I saw anybody typing C, but if at all anybody's there, feel free to answer. I'll just give 3 seconds, then we move on to the D1. B, 100%. Okay. 80%. Okay. All right. So, guys, we now move on to the D1, the people who noticed. Less guys getting C. Yeah. Very less people are sensitive nowadays. Not really, it actually depends. I was with D Vinod says. All right, we move on to the D1. The woman on the right. So this one, you're a great team player, right? You're cooperative, social, you're charm, positive. You don't want to be too vulnerable. You aren't impulsive. You take time. You need to get things done, and you do them with a smile. So people with D, I would want to hear from you. I was with D. In the meantime, Kamlesh mentioned 150%. Okay. Somebody raised hand. You can write it in the chat that so that I can have a look at it and we can then take it forward. Okay, Vamsi, 80% D is true for me. What if I observed everything one by one? Yeah. So in that case, like I mentioned, Hitesh, you have to notice the thing that you saw first, the very first thing that you saw. It's very common to observe multiple things in the picture. However, you have to notice the first thing, the very first thing that you noticed in the picture within 3 seconds. It could be one by one. You can see multiple pictures. Like I saw I show the option of all the 4, but it's the first thing that you noticed. 90% D is true for me. Now, guys, I want you to think a little bit and think of how can you utilize these traits. How can you utilize these traits to actually optimize your cognitive function? It's internal. For example, if I am somebody who with a A, so I have actually a sense of humor with me. So how can I utilize this? I can actually, since I have that quality in me, I can actually notice the positive in things and see it with a smile. Try to make myself happy and then take it forward. Vinod said, well, it could be one pick would have been more better. It was one picture only, but there are multiple options. So which is why there was 4 options and there was a highlight. So you can understand what did you notice first. So that was that. I hope I understood this correctly. If you have any other thing in mind, Vinod, you can let me know. Okay, so a little bit, if you guys can think of anything. No, so in the 4 pictures, you didn't have to observe anything in the 4 pictures. So the one in which you had to observe was one picture only. Um, okay, now we move ahead. Okay, now before we move to this, I want you to just think a bit, because I really want you to think in terms of understanding your own self. What do you think with your personality traits would have helped you or can help you optimize your cognitive function? So if you carry a positive outlook, you can probably work on maintaining it further. So you have positive thoughts. And then once you have positive thoughts, you can use that to sharpen your memory. I'm going to share certain ways that actually help you do that. But just think if something comes to your mind. Otherwise, of course, I'm going to be sharing all of these things with you by the end of this session. Okay, so this was the image to answer, Vinod. This was the image. That is the activity. Within 3 seconds, you have to observe. And then A, B, C, D. Okay, Arpita mentions roaming and exploring things in nature. Okay, yeah, that's actually can be beneficial, because when you do that, you're actually connecting with the nature, firstly. Secondly, when we connect in nature, when we go out, walk, we are 60% more creative at that time. So our body releases a chemical called dopamine. That is, so multiple happy chemicals. One of them is dopamine. So that helps you be more positive and optimistic in life, to be more motivated to do better things or bigger things in life. So Arpita, what you mentioned is actually a great thing. If more people can also come up with such ideas, because see, my only intention here is to help you understand that it is you who drives your life, and it is you who can actually understand what works the best. There are multiple things that people can suggest to you, but you have to figure out what is that one thing that works the best for you. For example, in order to exercise, swimming might not be my go-to thing, right? For me, it could be walking. For me, it could be uh, working out. For somebody, it could be cycling. For Arpita, she mentioned it's roaming and exploring in this particular context. But I'm just giving you an example. Now, that is that. Let's move further ahead. If anybody has anything in mind to mention, they can. Else, we'll move ahead. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, now this is a small activity wherein I'll present 5 questions to you, right? And then you have to keep the answer in mind. Only 5 seconds will be given to actually think of the answer, or probably slightly more than 5. With every correct answer, you have 10 points. Make sure you keep counting your points. By the end, you'll have a score out of 50. So also think of, when you share your score, also think of the realization that you got after this particular activity. Now, I'm going to present the questions in front of you. Be cautious. Just notice the question and then just try to answer that particular question. I'm gonna reveal all the answers after 5 questions. So, basic questions, they are related to presence of mind. What do you put in a toaster? You have 5 seconds. Bread, 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 bread. Okay. Butter, bread. Okay. Bread slice, sliced bread. Okay. Sandwich, oil, food. Okay. White bread, 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 food. Come on, think of more. two breads with stuffing in it. Think of more. Bread with butter applied both sides, bread with butter. Okay. Any more guesses, guys? So just make sure whatever you're telling me right now, you actually keep it in your mind. Or you can possibly toast. I see a new answer. Okay. Or you can possibly write it somewhere because there'll be 5 questions. So you'll have to remember the answers to all. So you can actually create a scorecard by the end of 5 questions. Pizza slices. To eat anything which can be allowed in it. Okay. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Just remember your answers, guys, because there are going to be 5 questions. I'm again and again saying remember your answers. All the answers with scores, I'm going to present after 5 questions. So we move on to the second question now. Say silk. Now spell the word silk. What does cow drink? Okay. 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 All right. I see milk. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Vijay answers. Okay. Vishnu just answered. Okay. Vinod again. And Dharmesh answers. Okay. All right. So I'll move on. Remember your answers. Again, I'm saying I'll move on to the next particular question now. Okay. Assume that you're driving a bus from Mumbai to Pune. In Mumbai, 17 people get on the bus. And in Pune, 1 person gets off the bus. Name the driver. I am so happy to see the responses. Priya Kamlesh mentions Priya Gojek. Thank you, Kamlesh, for making me a driver. Okay. Wow. One thing I really like about this session is that you guys are smart. Anyway. Okay. We move on to the next question now. If some of the months have 30 days and some have 31 and 30 days, then how many months have 28 days? The people who are raising hands can only write it in the chat box so that it's easier to answer them as well. Okay. None. Mohammed mentions. Sapna mentions 1 or none. Okay. Any more answers, guys? We then move on to the next question, and that's the last question. All right. Should I move to the next question, guys? Yes. Okay. So question number 5, which is this. Now you have to answer the name. I think there's 1 person who's but then there was this. I'm not sure whether you guys used internet or anything of that sort, but if this is answered honestly, then there's a great fun in the activity. However, let's see how we move ahead. Most of you say marry. Now tell me, how many of you used internet, honestly? Not me, Sunitha. Okay. I didn't use. Okay, Sai, I appreciate that. Rohit Sharma. Okay, great. Great. Thank you, guys. Okay. All right. Great. No worries. It nothing to feel bad about, Sai. It's normal. Like I was just asking if there's anything of that sort. But it's okay. Even if these answers are wrong or right, it's just my motive is for you guys to understand how soft skills like presence of mind, how you notice things, impacts your cognitive function. How can you actually make the most of your brain, right? Cool. Because remember last time I actually asked you how many thoughts do we process on a regular basis. Huh. Okay, but we might might have heard. Okay. All right. So coming back to what I was saying, you remember I asked you guys a question. Let's do so after this, we'll do a quick exercise like we did last time. And then there's going to be some knowledge share on cognitive function, how can you make the most of it? What is the best ways to actually utilize your traits in order to grow yourself, in order to be more sharp, smart, cognitive. We're going to discuss a little bit of subconscious on it, and then we're going to discuss a little bit of what are tips, tricks, hacks, and all of that. So, okay, so we are done with the 5 questions. Now, we move on to the answers. Just keep counting your scores. As in when you have one correct answer, just let me know. Just let me know your scores with every answer. So let's say if first answer is correct, you write 10. If second is correct, you write 20. If third is correct, Nitin, you write 30 and like that. Thank you, Nitin. You're super fast. Okay, so the first one, but there are still might be people who would want to answer this. And those of you who do not have this as a, although this is something most of you have correct as answers, but let's move on to the other one. How many of you have 20 now? And how many of you have 10? Because I saw some people wrote, it was a mix of water and milk. I have 20. Okay. Okay. We can cheat. Anshul 50 on 50. Great. Now this one. I think this one is mostly, yeah. Great. Okay, I see the answers. Okay. 20. Haman mentions. Okay, great. Now, we move on to the fourth one. Yeah, that is your name only. You're correct. Whoever is actually reading the question, the answer is their name. Okay, 30. Okay, great. Let's move on to the next one. I'll see 50 on 50 now. Most of those people would answer as 50. Great. There are 2 things that we can derive as a outcome or as an understanding of this particular activity. Is that number one, how many of you answered got 50 on 50? So for those, and Simran gets 50. Score is 30, Vinod says. Okay, Anshul has 50 on 50. Yeah, nice. Okay. So for those, 60 on 50, quick answering. All right. Great, Nitin. You can give 70 to yourself. 40 to 50, the bus one I didn't get. Okay. I really appreciate the people who are honest here and telling me that, okay, they scored only 30 or 40, and the one who scored 50, no doubts. Now, is there anybody who actually scored between 20 to 30? Not 30, 31, between 10 to 20, actually. Anyone out here? I'm honest in cheating. Vamsi says 10. All right. Vinod, Chiranjeev 20. Okay, great. All right. Thank you guys for the honesty. Now, I have a few points to be mentioned or points to be noted here. So for those of you who scored 50 on 50, now, if your presence of mind is strong, right? So ideally your presence of mind is decent or actually above average if you answered these questions correct. Of course, there's no exact this thing that can be measurable, but you're the best judge of your own life and of your own self. So I have a question for you. For those of you who had 50 on 50 as an answer, as a score, Do you see that strength in your daily activity as well? Like, do you see that in your work? Do you see that in your conversations? Do you see that in your life? And are you doing anything to take it forward? Arpita, no, yeah. So, not usually, not exactly. Okay. So, mostly, Dharmesh says mostly. So, have you ever, all right, I appreciate the honesty here, guys. Now, so have you ever thought, I do not see because the questions said already. Okay. So, for those of you who actually don't see it like that, do you ever consider, do you ever think and try to understand why is it? If you could answer these questions, and if you answered with honesty, and if you have that presence of mind, sharpness, noticing things and having that presence of mind, do you think there's one thing that you can change in your daily routine that can actually help you uh, change that in your life? I have a habit to learn new things daily. Dharmesh, great. Great. If you have that as a habit, I think you can change a lot within a year. So I want you to really compare yourself. How much have you changed if you really have a habit to learn a new thing daily? What have you achieved and how far are you? So for those who are actually somewhere between 30 to 40, I would have the same questions, but again, I would just mention there are certain ways you can actually work and become more present or sharp. Now, for even for those who scored from 10 to 40, I have like certain ways that can help you. Utilizing, your subconscious, nudging your subconscious, understanding what is it that's your key strength or power. All right. So just to understand, if in my last uh, presence on daily basis, okay, learning to learn slow and steady to be precise, plan task and try to execute on time. Maybe the ignorance is the reason for lack of presence on daily basis. Okay, so yeah, when you know it, it's great, right? So for those of you who know it, just try to figure out what is the cause. Now that you have a cause, what can you do to overcome that cause? It's all internal, guys. You have to focus on your own cognitive. It's not about the person sitting in front of you or at left or right. It's about your own self because it's your life. You are in charge. I think not having a good mental health could be a reason. Yes, but not having a good mental health, of course, definitely can be a reason. However, when we know that there's something wrong with the mental health, the first thing is to work, right? So if you can work, you're coming on the average already. So good mental health, not having good mental health is one thing, but you can always realize it and work towards it. Now, when you're working towards it is when the baseline is. So there you have to identify lack of interest. Yeah, so all of these things, just try thinking about all of these things. I'm going to suggest certain ways that can be really useful and beneficial for you, but I want you to really think about your own self. At least for this hour, for this session, just think what is it that you can change in yourself and what is it that you can utilize in yourself, the personality trait that you already have to be more better and to be a better version of your own self, right? Now, if you remember last session, if you guys attended, if there are some people who attended the same session, same people who attended the last session, I told you one thing which was related to, and even for those who did not attend, a human mind processes certain number of thoughts on a regular basis. Do you remember that number? And it's a normal question if even if you were not there in the last session, are you aware of the number? 50. It's thoughts that I'm talking about here. Okay, 20,000, 60,000. Anand says 60,000. Okay. 1 lakh, Rohit Sharma says. Maybe in lakhs. Okay. I'm going to tell you, no worries. Any more guesses? Okay. So I think Anand was very close. We process around 60 to 70,000 thoughts on a regular basis. And it's all interconnected. like when you process your thoughts and even tapping the subconscious that I told you. So how many of you are really interested in knowing more about subconscious, or that as a topic really interests you, or how many of you actually try tapping your subconscious? What is it that really excites you about subconscious? And like, okay, so I see some interest. Okay, so have you ever thought that you can, have you ever tried tapping? Okay, interested but never used the potential. Okay, own path. All right. More question answers again. Oh, your mom does it regularly. I do affirmations regularly. Oh, nice, great. Interested but not known how. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So, there are so I'll just take 3-4 minutes to explain this to you. I do it not regularly, but I have very interesting ways to do it. Oh, Sunita, oh, great. If you can just share some ways with the people, that'll be great. See much of an effect. Sai, if you do not see much of an effect, I really want you to think about how well and how hard have you tried, right? And if there's anything that you can identify as probably the spoiler in that case, that might be keeping you away from actually tapping into it. So there are so I think Sunita also mentioned that she does it, she has some really interesting ways. So we are all yours. If Sunita, you would like to share, feel free. Otherwise, I have a few things that I'd like to share with you all on subconscious mind only. uh, irregularity. Yeah, so regularity and consistency is must. Uh, okay, all right. So subconscious, guys, I'll quickly explain it. Uh, no, you can write it here, Sunita. If you can just write down a few points, like introspection regularly helps me. Then nudging the brain really helps me. The best times to tap the subconscious.
Priya, we can move the participant into panelist. They will be able to.
They would want to speak up.
Yes.
Okay. So it's from here only, right? Who would want to speak out? Sunitha, right?
Yeah. I'll move Sunita to the panelist.
Sure, please do. Sunitha, you
Good
can.
evening, everyone. I hope you are able to hear me.
Yes, yes.
All right, great. So firstly, thank you so much, Etika, for organizing this wonderful session. It's very closer to my heart because most of the time I can resonate to it. And answering that question of subconscious mind tapping into it's great if one can actually kind of get onto it. Because I am on that spiritual journey, and I
Wow.
done a lot of meditation trips. And I purely do it to ensure that I stay calm with myself and I hold a lot of peace within. So I mean, that curiosity led me to kind of read a lot of books around it and then trying to understand. And yeah, there are three minds which we live with. One is subconscious mind, one is unconscious mind, and one is your active mind. So subconscious mind typically is the first top layer, you could call it, is that when you are in your REM state of your sleep, our brain tries to still work while we are technically shut off, right? Conscious mind is, yes, I mean, like consciously you are aware about it. Your active mind keeps telling, okay, back of your radar, things have happened. This is how it works. So it is registered and you are aware about it. Active mind is, of course, I'm speaking right now, I'm conscious, I'm
Right.
mindful of being it, right? But I would, strongly recommend, and I've also been part of this session where Etika is also into a lot of meditation, and there is a great job of, bringing on people on this platform. I have been, one of the participant who has attended that session, and I would say that meditation is a great way to kind of untap into your, unconscious state or subconscious state, and then you will realize eventually. We all in today's times only try to crave to look the outside world, and we get really bogged down. But I think once a person realize the journey within, um, then it's a different ball game altogether. I mean, I feel it's a game changer when I at least encountered the beauty of it, right? So definitely meditation is something which probably if people are not aware where to start and how to go about, is just that be very mindful of choosing a right guru, because if meditation goes wrong, then you get into a lot of other issues which many of us are not aware of. Like, we know there are so many gurus out there, so many techniques out there which they keep. I'm not pointing to anybody as such, but at least when I heard the flip side of it, I was actually taken back that, if it is not done with the right person, then you might eventually end up being at a larger impact for your own self. So be mindful and then pick up. But it's a great way to kind of unlock yourself and get to know your true sense about and getting very closer to your soul. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you. Thanks for giving this opportunity as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunita. That's great. Great to hear that. I think there are three more people, Sandhya. Do we want to hear from them, or should we just move on with what we were discussing? I see three people raising hands. Just want to have an understanding.
Yeah, we can move them as well if they want to share any thoughts.
Anybody else would like to share anything here? Like I saw a couple of you.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I've joined this session late. So
Oh,
so I am not in the right this thing to express. But definitely, I would like to boost my mental this thing by unlocking my mental potential, and like you said, through the mental exercises that I would be interested.
mhm.
Uh, so that much only I can share right now.
Oh, I thought you had something to share as such. Okay,
No.
cool. All right. Thank you, Satyajit.
Yeah.
If anybody has anything concrete to share, they can raise hands, else we'll move ahead.
Priya, you can go ahead.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, so I think somebody. Okay, can we avoid having people speaking anyway? I'll share my screen again to just share some ways. Right. So here are some ways that can be beneficial for you in order to enhance your cognitive function. So while mindfulness really helps, and as an ICF-CBT certified professional, I have also tried all these ways. Of course, when you see good food, quality food and sleep, I would say I'm not a nutritionist. However, like you need quality in everything, I would say eat healthy food and quality food. Now, speaking of the first point, like I was telling you that I also try to implement the same on myself, and I have sort of seen potential like in all of these ways, and I've seen a huge result in my life as well. So releasing happy chemicals, so this is very important because it's cognitive function, it's your brain, so you have to have certain activities in your life that make you happy, and when you're actually happy, it's because of certain chemicals getting released in your brain. So it could be listening to any instrumental or soft music or anything that you like, right? Anything that sort of gives you that happiness from the inside. Then going out for walks, like I said, you're 60% more creative as per Stanford research while walking versus sitting. So make sure you have identified your way that you can implement on a regular basis that can help you release those chemicals in your brain. Now, since again, I would say it's cognitive function, sleep is very important. Make sure you have a quality sleep and you have a good schedule, sleep schedule, and of course, healthy food. Then getting your heart rate up. This is equally important because research have shown that any exercise is really good for your mind. Not just because it releases endorphin, but also it's good for your mind. It makes you feel good. You're happy. You're motivated. So it could be anything that works for you. It could be swimming. It could be dance. It could be exercise, workout, yoga. Anything that works the best for you. Then there are brain exercises. For example, engaging all five senses all together. let's say for 5 minutes. One of the examples of this could be, let's say you're out at a restaurant, so your eyes are engaged, your nose is engaged because of the smell, then your ears are engaged because there's noise, then your taste bud is engaged, then all of these 5 senses are engaged. Then minute details exercise. So this is a quick exercise that you can try on a regular basis, wherein let's say by the end of the day, you try to remember minute details about the conversations or the people you met. For example, I met someone, I need to just recall what was the person wearing. So this is good for the memory. What were they wearing? What was the color? What type of shoe? What was the material and all that? Just to make sure that you're memorizing and you're trying to recall and you're trying to sharpen up your mind. So that's another way. Now, reverse remembering is also equally good, wherein you remember whatever you did in the reverse manner. For example, if you started your day in the morning, you woke up, then you went out for a walk, then you came back, exercise. So by the end, you remember it in the reverse order. So you also trying to introspect, wherein you're learning things out of conversations, work, everything that you did. But at the same time, it's also an exercise for your brain or your mind, like that. Then aligning your mind, body, inner self with deep work practices, visualizations, introspection. Then another one, which is very important, is socializing and sharing stories. When we socialize and share stories, when we speak, we try to think of different ways that in which we can present our stories and all that. So that makes you very creative. At the same time, you're also being imaginative at that time because you're thinking, right? And then last, I mean, there are multiple other ways that can be there, but I'm just trying to help you understand that, these are certain ways that can be helpful in your journey. Of course, you have to identify which one works the best for you and that you can implement in your life on a regular basis. So staying active physically and mentally is very important. So yeah, that is about ways of enhancing your cognitive. We did some exercise. I'll just quickly walk you through. We'll just have a recap so that you understand what all did you understand about yourself and what are the ways you take away from, what's your takeaway or learning from this entire session. So we'll have a quick recap in 1 minute so that you understand what all we discussed, and then we move on. So we discussed what is cognitive. We all know now what is a cognitive function, right? Then we had a quick exercise wherein we had a word missing from the slide, which was next, and then you had to recall. So it was one, elevate. We also discussed that, what is that thing that if you can elevate in your life, you can actually be a better version of yourself. Then imagination, what is the power of imagination for you? Then sharp, what is it that should be sharpened? It could be a soft skill, it could be any ability that you probably want to sharpen in your life. Then there was this exercise wherein this particular thing indicated traits close to your personality and how can you actually utilize them to, optimize your cognitive function. And then there was this presence of mind exercise that we did. And then we discussed the scores, answers, points, and then there were certain ways through which you can actually enhance your cognitive. So if you have any question, you can let me know. And yeah, so this was about this. I think Sandhya, and of course, one more thing that I would like to mention. I really want to know one thing from you. What is your learning and takeaway from this particular entire session? If you can share one thing that you take as a takeaway, that'll be great. And of course, then I can tell you what all could be the learnings and takeaways. In the first, let's do the book and then we'll.
Priya, you can continue meanwhile.
Oh, okay.
Let them finish.
But then they might not be able to engage in that case now. Or should I just move
No,
ahead?
you can continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So some of the learnings and takeaways could be this. There's a lot. Can we finish on thoughts? Okay, so when I said 70,000 thoughts, I'll quickly finish on that. So out of these 70,000, there's 90% number, which is repetitive. And 80% of those are on the negative side. So what I meant with that and when I said that it's all interconnected and related is that so again, it comes to subconscious and all of that. So you have these many thoughts already in your mind going on. Naturally, on an average, these many thoughts you already have in your mind. So when you have those thoughts, and then if you can optimize your cognitive function in such a way that you're making the best use possible from those particular thoughts and implement it in your life in such a way that you can make huge changes in your life. So my only point of recalling that 70,000 number of thoughts that we have on a regular basis was to actually help you understand how naturally your body is built in such a way that it also supports you in whatever you want to achieve in life, or whatever you want to do in life or achieve in a day to day, or even as a bigger picture in your life. So our body, our nature, the environment already supports us in multiple way. So yeah, that's what I meant when I said that. Got it. Thanks. You're welcome, Hitesh. If anybody of you have any thought in mind, let me know. Okay. Do you believe in subconscious tapping? Yeah. So I was telling you about that. That yes, I do believe in that. There are multiple ways you can do it in such a way that, like she also mentioned, that the flip side shouldn't be avoided. But there are multiple ways. For example, you need to identify the right times. Then you need to take care of your mind. Small exercises like I recommended in the ways to enhance your cognitive can also be beneficial. For example, introspection, things that sharpen your memory. So when you do that, it also helps you get to a deeper state of mind. So accessing deeper states, there are 4 states that we operate in. So accessing deeper states, then tapping them at the right time. So one could be when you're just about to sleep, and the other could be right after you wake up. So all of these things, club together. For example, you introspect, you try to become a better person. Then you also sort of think of what are the ways that you can actually implement in your life and then be a better person. Introspecting, then accessing deeper states of mind. Gratitude plays a crucial role. Then at the same time, there are certain ways like, releasing happy chemicals that can help you be motivated to do further good in life. And then nudging your brain at the right times, nudging in the daytimes, and all of these things. So identify the ways that are your best way to actually pick it up and apply it in your life. And slowly and gradually, you'll understand the patterns of them. So yeah, that is about that. Thank you, Kamlesh.
Thank you so much, Priya, for that insightful and engaging session. I'm sure we all have gained valuable strategies to improve our cognitive functions and reach our peak performance. Before we conclude, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to everyone who attended today's session. We hope you found it valuable and that you can apply these practical strategies in your daily life. If you have any further questions or need more information, feel free to reach out. Also, keep an eye on your inbox for the recording and key takeaways from this today's session. Thank you once again and wishing you all a productive and mindful day ahead. Thank you so much, Priya.
Thank you.